Gideon, the hidden warrior. The land of Israel groaned beneath oppression. For 7 long years the Midianites had swept across the valleys like a swarm of locusts. They stole the grain, the sheep, the oxen, everything. Fields were left bare, children cried with hunger, and families hid in caves like fugitives in their own land. Israel had cried out to the Lord for deliverance, and one night their cry reached heaven. The call in the village of Ophrah, a man named Gideon was threshing wheat, not in the open field where it should be done, but hidden inside a winepress, crouched low, trying to keep the little grain he had from enemy eyes. His hands were dusty, his back tense, his ears alert for hoofbeats. And then, out of nowhere, a voice broke the silence. "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon froze. He turned, startled, and there stood a man under the oak tree, his presence steady, his eyes blazing with something more than human. Gideon's voice trembled as he replied, "If the Lord is with us, then why has all this happened? Where are the wonders our fathers told us about? The Lord has abandoned us into the hand of Midian." But the angel of the Lord looked at him and declared, "Go in the strength you have and deliver Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you?" Gideon's mouth went dry. He stammered, "But how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest, and I am the least in my father's house." The Lord answered simply, powerfully, "I will be with you, and you will strike down the Midianites as one man." The test. Still uncertain, Gideon prepared an offering, meat and bread laid upon a stone. The angel stretched out his staff, touched the food, and fire leapt up from the rock, consuming it in an instant. The figure vanished into flame. Gideon fell on his face, trembling. He knew now. The Lord himself had spoken. That very night, God gave him his first task, not to fight Midian, but to tear down the idol of Baal in his father's own yard. Gideon's knees shook, but he obeyed. In the darkness, he cut down the altar, smashed the false god, and built a new altar to the Lord. When morning came, the village erupted in rage. "Bring out Gideon," they shouted. "He must die." But his father stood firm. "If Baal is a god, let him defend himself." From that day, Gideon was no longer just Gideon. He was called Jerubbaal. Let Baal contend with him. The army. The Midianites gathered once more, an army vast as the sand on the seashore. Gideon blew the trumpet, and tribes of Israel rallied behind him. At last he stood with 32,000 men at his side. But God whispered something shocking. "You have too many. If you win with this army, Israel will boast and say, 'My own strength has saved me.'" And so Gideon called out, "If anyone is afraid, let him return home." 22,000 men turned and left. 10,000 remained. Still, God said, "Too many." He led them to the water. Some knelt and drank with cupped hands. Others plunged their faces straight into the stream. Only 300 lifted the water to their lips with vigilance. God said, "With these 300 I will deliver you. Send the rest home." 300 against an army without number. Impossible unless the Lord fought for them. The battle that night, Gideon crept down to the enemy camp. Torches flickered in the darkness. The Midianites lay like a sea across the valley. In one tent, Gideon overheard a soldier whispering, "I dreamed a barley loaf rolled into the camp, struck the tent, and it collapsed." Another replied, "This can mean nothing but the sword of Gideon. God has given Midian into his hands." Gideon's heart surged. He bowed in worship, then hurried back to his men. He armed them not with swords, but with trumpets, clay jars, and torches hidden inside. He divided them into 3 companies, circling the camp in the dark. At his signal, they broke the jars, raised the blazing torches, and blew the trumpets. A thunderous cry rang out through the night, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." Panic seized the Midianites. In the confusion, they turned their swords against one another. The great army broke, scattered, and fled into the hills. And that night, with 300 men and the power of God, Gideon won a victory that no man could claim for himself. The legacy Gideon story is not about human strength. It is about weakness made strong, doubt transformed into courage, and fear turned into faith. It is the story of a God who does not choose the mighty, but makes mighty those he chooses. The angel's words still echo, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Perhaps they are not just Gideon's words. Perhaps they are yours.